Michael,
You're watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.
And we are live for our Friday night preview show. Welcome to the Scottish Football Zone. We have got a busy week and we've got a busy show lined up for you as always. Delighted to be joined as always by Regan Stevenson and Telfer Gray to look forward to the battle of Glasgow and Edinburgh, but also at first and second in the league as well. As you know, it's a big game on Sunday, Hearts against Celtic. We'll get to that very soon. Get your comments coming in. We'll be here previewing the Premiership games and the Championship games as well. But as we do, before we begin our preview, Telfer, we like to look back on last night's action. And I don't know if you saw any of the games last night, Telfer, but I think it was a bit of a disappointing night. Apart from the Celtic score, it was a disappointing night for Rangers and Aberdeen in Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. And at half-time, it looked like a hat-trick of defeats, which wasn't the first time that's happened. But thankfully, Celtic saved their skin a little bit. But yeah, sobering night overall for Aberdeen and Rangers, absolutely. And yeah, you can't know, they both deservedly got beat. And when you look at Aberdeen, they only lost 6 goals. It could have been 6-0 down at the first half.
Regan, you were at the Celtic game last night. I think I don't know if you can hear at the moment, but you were at the Celtic game last night. First of all, what was your thoughts going into the game last night, and then after the game, were you pleasantly surprised about how Celtic got the 3 points? Telfer, sorry, I know Regan's having a few. Sorry, yeah.
I think my general thoughts going into the game was you don't actually know what Celtic team's going to turn up. But I think in general, I think Celtic done actually pretty well. I think that's probably the best I've seen Celtic so far this season. And I think that's saying something in itself. Because I don't think they've played particularly well, Michael, but I think the great thing for Celtic was that they got the victory, because if they got beat last night, you'd have said fair play, that was some strike for the first goal. But to get the win, it just kind of eases the pressure on Brendan Rodgers. Even though, to be honest with you, Michael, I don't think there should be pressure on Brendan Rodgers, because I think he's not the party that's letting the club down at the moment. I think it's in terms of the board and also in terms of the lack of squad depth as well.
I think you as a Celtic fan went along last night and you didn't know what to expect. The Celtic did play well, but I think the only concern was the injury doubts, and then obviously I've not heard the latest on Alistair Johnson, but I know Kurt Vickers is out for potential
3 to 5 months.
Yeah, 3 to 5 months. So that's a worry going into the game against the Jambos on Sunday, Telfer.
Yeah, and I'll admit it was an entertaining game that Celtic played. They were a lot of forward passes to Netke was a live wire. And I'll agree with you, I don't think Rodgers was under much pressure, but as such as the Glasgow bubble and the Glasgow scrutiny in football nowadays, you could argue if they did get turned over and they were only maybe a couple of results away from Rodgers being under a bit of pressure. So, yeah, it sets them up nicely for a terrific tussle on Sunday.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think Celtic needed that performance and result, Regan, off of the back of Sunday's game, because we were saying last night on the show that it would be interesting how Celtic's going to bounce back. But I think they've done the job nicely, because You don't want to go into that hostile atmosphere at Tynecastle on Sunday with Celtic having 2 defeats on the bounce, but it was important for them to get back to winning ways.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, Celtic in general, Celtic have been not playing too well this season, but you've got to say that they are playing okay last night. Like I said, probably the best display in terms of attacking play. But the thing for me last night was I felt there was a few players in there that played really well. I want to go on and talk about Donovan as well because I feel like Donovan is someone that is an upgrade on Tony Ralston. As much as Tony Ralston's a good player, he tries his best. I think Donovan is someone that we can really Celtic can really think about that this guy's a genuine player here.
There you go, Telfer. It's not too early in the flag night. Maybe to start drinking that. I don't know. There you go. Hasper, Skaki Gelly, Watson on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the new channel, Hasper on the Scottish Football Zone. There's Clowns to the left of me, Vargas to the right. Here I am stuck in the middle with you, Brendan Rogers. I'm surprised you never sang a wee song about a car there, like a motor car going down the motorway. So, guys, of course, Telford is going to the big game on Sunday. Are you looking forward to the game? And what first of all, what kind of games are you expecting?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, such as our demand and how well Hearts are playing at the moment. I was only able to get a ticket off the ticket exchange, which was good. Expecting a really close fought encounter. Either way, I don't see a team winning by 2-3 goals. I don't think there's much in it. It'll be, sets us up nicely. I maybe wouldn't say Hearts are favourites, but you can maybe not argue that. I would say it's very close to call, but judging by Celtic's injury worries, that's a massive boost for us. Basically, Celtic's spine of the team is out, and Hearts' main cohort, barring Frankie Kent, although don't think he maybe even start at the moment, is injured. So yeah, Hearts are looking a bit more fresh. Home crowd, no European football, less injuries. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Telf, I know you're talking there about ticket exchange, right? Now, I've been to a lot of matches down south, right? And I think ticket exchange is a great idea because I've been to a lot of games in Scotland where me and Michael talk about it all the time to a boy in the face, and we say, right, there's a lot of stadiums that are pretty empty. And a lot of the clubs always say, well, tickets are sold out. And I go, well, how can tickets be sold out? And they go, because the tickets are sold to season ticket holders plus a few sections of supporters. But talk to us a little bit about ticket exchange because I've used the ticket exchange before. And I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's great. I think Hearts brought it in 2 or 3 years ago. So essentially, season ticket holders, if they can't make the game, they can allocate their ticket. And if a normal fan like myself, you have to have an existing account, I'm pretty sure. So you have to have been to a few games before. I might be wrong, but I think that's the case.
Yeah, you do because that's the same process down in England. So I have to purchase a membership.
Yeah, and
to be able to be on the ticket exchange.
It's good. It's open till a few hours before kickoff, and it's easy to access. And season ticket holders can get credit or points added back to their account, so their next season ticket they can claim back a little bit of money, or they can donate it back to the club.
Yeah, I think more clubs should do the same, personally, because I feel like that's a great way of actually making more money because it's better doing that than seeing the stadium being half empty as well.
Yeah, there will, no doubt, unfortunately, there probably might still be the odd empty seats in a couple of seasons by. I'll admit, even as a Jambo, I'll be fair, there was still the odd maybe 500 or so empty seats, maybe 1,000 at the odd game a few years back. But it's slowly improving, and the club have done really well in their communications, releasing it through their Facebook and then Instagram, and even for the game against Hibs, there was, I think, maybe it was only 50 tickets left or something, but 50 tickets the season ticket holders couldn't go, and he still said, oh, they'll be released at, I think it was 4:30 or 5:30. Anyway, I was too slow, I couldn't get one. So whether there was only 50 tickets left, it's still, the club are trying to maximise every little empty seat.
Talk to me about the game on Sunday, Telford, because how important would be the Hearts fans? Obviously, I'm not going to say to you the Hearts fans need to get up for the game, because when they get up for the game, they get up for the game anyway, no matter if it's Celtic or Rangers or any kind of European tie as well. But that kind of like hostile atmosphere on Sunday, I think my concerns about the game, guys, is it's a high-profile game. Nobody's going to win the league. Hearts might move 5 points playing Sunday. We know that, but it's just a pity it's a 12 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, absolutely, and it'll be interesting. I think it's just TV rights. I don't know if there's any big hitters in the Premier League down south kicking off at 2 or 3, but it is. We had the Edinburgh Derby kicking off at, I think it was 5:45 or something a couple of weeks ago, which shows I don't think there was any much bother or trouble. So I would have preferred it to be a bit later for the fans' atmosphere and stuff, but you can't control it that much these days.
There you go, Gorgie Boy is on YouTube, and if you don't know him by now, well, where have you been for the past 30 years? Graham Duffy, good evening to you, mate. Basically, he was saying that Sunday is a massive game for both teams, but whatever happens, nothing is won in October. That's all cliche in football, Graham. Well done. He said there's no reasons why Hearts can't win, obviously, because they've got the home advantage, the game, but it's going to be a tough game, even with the injury Celtic had. And obviously, at the end of the game last night, it was a concern because obviously Carl Vickers at the end of the game, I don't know what happened. I never saw it. Reagan, you were at the game, but you might confirm at the now. But obviously, as I said at the top of the show, 2 out for 5 months. Now, that's a big blow because obviously you've got Hearts tomorrow, Rangers next week, and some European games in between.
Yeah, potentially do think he'll be over 5 months, Michael, because Celtic as a club won't want to rush him back too much because he's got the previous experience of being very injury prone. You just need to look back at Johnson as well, who got injured yesterday. Celtic, I would go as far to say, Michael, that Celtic probably rushed Johnson back too soon because of the form of Tony Ralston. No disrespect to Ralston, but I think he's of a level of a Scottish Premier League club, but I don't think he's of the level of Celtic. That's just my opinion. I just like every time I watch him, he is a hard worker. He does try his best, but I think in general he is in terms of what Vickers. I mean, I think it's so important now that we actually do see Jamal Simpson Pusey. I do think it's also important we see Trusty as well because these players need to step up now.
Yeah, no, definitely. But Telfer, when you heard that news, it must have been like even though it's Friday night, but it must have been brilliant to hear that kind of news.
Yeah, well, and there's even a doubt Maeda might not be fit as well.
Yeah.
So when we've got
Uh,
Jason Kenny, I don't know his first name. Sorry, I said
John Joe. Yeah.
John Joe Kenny. I
Yep.
can't. I don't know. He's
Well,
not in
Mike,
a rich vein of
look
form
at the-
either.
You've given me the fear there, Michael. But John Joe Kenny was the guy back during COVID lockdowns.
Oh, yeah, it's really odd. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's Johnny Kenny. But John Joe Kenny was a right back during the COVID lockdown, but he was pretty bad for Celtic. I'm interested to get Telfer's thoughts on like how he feels that Hearts will approach the match, because see if it was me being a genuine supporter of the Town Council club, I don't think there's anything to fear from Celtic at the moment.
No, you're right. And even if we were to lose, obviously I hope we don't. The gap only goes to 2 points, but I think McInnes will most likely just stick with the same starting 11 as has served him well in the past few games. We've been solid at the back, and I think their new record signing Ajew may get the last 20 minutes, but you never know how the game will pan out as he returns back from injury. But yeah, there's nothing to fear there. It's not going to be easy, of course, but it'll raise a few eyebrows if we go 8 points clear. But in reality, you couldn't argue on paper if people were to say Hearts are the slight favourites.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great testament that I mean, Derek has done such a good job. I mean, you look at that actual job he's done so far. The job he's done has been incredible.
Yeah, well, I think we'll just stick to 4-4-2. With Benny, Beningame, and Cammy Devlin in the middle. Probably Braga and Shanklin, Kezaridis left mid. Right mid, we've been playing Harry Milne, which is a bit of an unorthodox position for him, but he hasn't put much foot wrong, I would say. And then I would say Halkett has been one of our star players this season in attack, and he's one of our main goal scoring threats.
Yeah, I mean, I said this to Graham on for Thursday night, so please check out the Gorgie Boys podcast. But I said to Graham that I'm a little bit surprised. I'm a little bit surprised that Craig Halkett and Stuart Finlay have not been talked about to be in the Scotland squad.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Obviously, you're going to pick on Grant Hanley, but I know against Denmark in the 0-0 he played pretty formidable. Is Halkett Findlay better than Hendry? You could argue. I'm not saying Halkett and Findlay would start, but they're worth their merit. But I can't see Steve Clarke changing it for the next 2 games or anything. I don't think there'll be many major surprises in Steve Clarke's next 2 call-ups just because of how critical the next 2 games are. And it is Steve Clarke we're talking about. He just sticks to his guns most of the time.
Reagan, Graham says all the pressure is on Celtic. I don't think there's any pressure on us.
I tend to agree with that, Graham, because Celtic are the bigger club and they're obviously going through a bit of turmoil at the moment. But I think there is still pressure on Hearts to show everybody they're not a flash in the pan, that they're actually going to last the distance and show people that, okay, people can see that Hearts are not going to do it. But I think if Hearts win this game, I think you can start to dream, Graham. It's same with you, Telfer, you can start to dream.
8 points after what would be 9 games, then at least 12, 13 games, if maybe 15 or 16 till we're caught up.
Yeah,
Don't
but
say that, but yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just looking at it from this point of view. I mean, Hearts play next weekend against Dundee, and Celtic and Rangers both don't play. So Hearts could be potentially 11 points clear of Celtic, the closest challengers, and so many points ahead of Rangers. So you could be looking at Hearts possibly having the advantage of 15 points over Rangers and 11 points over Celtic.
Yeah, and despite what the media say, I do expect Rangers to pick up when that will come. Who knows? I still think it's
To be honest with
50-50
you,
between us and Rangers for second, though as the weeks go on, that our advantage, if we keep it up, we'll gradually become favourites for second, if not put more pressure on for the title.
yeah, I mean, Michael, I've not spoken to you yet to see if we're going to do a show for the midweek games. But I mean, if you look at the actual the fixtures during the week as well, I mean, you would even say that Rangers fixture Wednesday night against the other team from Edinburgh, you've got to say that you would actually fancy the home team to actually potentially take something from the match.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I made this point to Alex last night in the show, and I kind of feel a bit sorry for Danny Rowe because he's not really had a kind of like honeymoon period, as it were. Like he just went in from the out from the frying pan to the fire, as I say, or whatever it is. But yeah, that's going to be. It's always going to be a test cake encounter when one of the big two from Glasgow go through to Edinburgh, especially in a big weeknight under the lights as well. You know.
Yeah, I mean, especially because David Gray are looking to temper it this season. Because you look at the start they've made to the season, the start's been pretty bang average. They were looking to say, I suppose, look, you can still bear with us. We might not be top dogs in Edinburgh this season because of the Jambos, but we're certainly going to go for that third place still.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
no.
within the right to feel that, and if they replicate their European form at the start of the season, they will become a force to reckon with. It's quite stark to see Midtjylland leading the Europa League or Conference League, depending. I think it's Europa League.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they're 3 wins out of 3 so far, and Hibs were 30 seconds from a penalty shootout. So.
Yeah.
Telfa, I was just going to say we haven't had you on the show this season yet. If memory serves me rightly, but what did you think of Derek McInnes coming into Hearts? Do you think it was the right move?
Yeah, I'll admit I still feel, and at the time there was still a bit of slight discontent among supporters. I would still say he was a preferred candidate, but he wasn't overwhelmingly. But you can't argue so far the way he conducts himself in the media with the players. It was even quite telling after the Kilmarnock game last week, since the final whistle went. Braga want to give him like a hug and stuff, and he just kind of patted them away and just tried to keep calm. And he's saying everything right. I think the players are buying into him. It's just got a big squad, so hopefully him and his coaching staff are keeping our fringe players fresh and motivated. And there's been quite a few bounce games midweek to offer that, and they've been very successful with regards to goals in those bounce games, and also victories as well. So yeah, the squad's quite bloated, so I don't know what's like behind the scenes for like sort of say Kabori. You've got other people as well. It's in Forest, Spittle.
I was listening to Derek McInnes' press conference on Wednesday, Telfa, and it was gives a quote from that. He says it's I'm looking forward to the game. It's a very important game, but we face a tough challenge in Celtic because they're a good team. But we need to look forward to it, and we need to focus on ourselves. I think he's a very good talker to the media as well. But Telfa, I know that we were talking about Celtic injury worries as well. But taking injuries aside, okay, that there'll be a big blow for Celtic and all the rest of it. But Celtic still got big players, you know, and So don't take nothing for granted yet, But in saying that, we need to see what Celtic team turns up on Sunday. A bit like we need to watch, we need to see what kind of Team Hearts turns up on Sunday. But I think you're right as well that they've had a full week to prepare for the game and where Celtic played last night, albeit it was in Glasgow, they didn't have to go away from home for the European game.
Yeah, and I think when they beat Rangers 2-0, I think there was another break, and thankfully we've not got another break next week. And even though we're not in the semi-final, of course, we would have loved to have been there. But no, it's just really looking forward to it, and the confidence among the players is there. I think they can believe, and they can believe that they've got enough talent, and whether we have Braga and Kisaridis, even Halkett, Devlin, after January or June, who knows? But if they're here for one season and get us European football and a trophy, then so be it. As long as they get good money, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I'm genuinely interested, right? When will you start to believe, Telfer? Because obviously I'm saying it right now, but when are you still going to start to believe?
I don't think until 1st of January, just in between Christmas and New Year. If we're leading or within 3 points around 1st of January, then that's I believe. I'm not I'm generally an optimist, but I've got to be a realist in this regarding the league history.
That's really a good point that Telford made, Reagan, because I don't know about you guys, but I kind of hate the start of the season because it's kind of stop, start with international games. But obviously, this next window coming up in November.
Michael, I thought you loved the Scotland games as well.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, okay. When we're playing well as well.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'll keep my moan to the Scotland game coming up. But no, Telfer makes a good point because after this window in November, Telfer, that's the I don't know how many games Hearts and Celtic plays, and then that's you right up until February. So you've got a long period of time where a lot of games in there.
Yeah, and no European football as well, and I've got time to offload some players in January as well, and we've got Borchgrevink, our right back, will most likely come back into action, who was a signing in the summer, a highly rated Norwegian under-21 international, as well as Kazakhstan international Islam Chesnikov on the right mid from Tobol. He's been highly sought after, and we were looking for him 6 months ago, and it took us a while. So I really think our squad's actually only going to get stronger, which speaks volumes.
From a Celtic point of view, Reagan, how important is it to get back to winning ways in the league after last Sunday's performance up at Dundee?
I think it's so important, but my general feeling in Celtic is that this is a game that you must not lose. Because I feel like Celtic are well capable of beating Falkirk on Wednesday
night. Yeah.
Yep. And I'm sure we'll be on. But I think that Hearts then go to St Mirren, which I think is potentially difficult for them. I feel they probably could slip up there. So I feel like Celtic just need to not lose this game, because if they lose this match, then it could be as a great reporter once says, it's not a disaster, it's a catastrophe. Yeah, I mean, so I just feel like this could be a big weekend, and I think it could also be a momentum weekend in terms of actually saying to Hearts fans like Telford and Graham, or saying to the Hearts players as well that there is genuine belief that we can do something this season.
Yeah, and
We-
you think of Aberdeen last season, I think it was from next week or the week after, that's when they folded really badly, and obviously got beat. They had a poor result in the league, and then got walloped 6-0 at Hampden by Celtic in the semi-final. So we're getting to almost that when you're drawing comparisons to Aberdeen of last year. Though, like a lot of people are saying out in the press, I do feel our squad is more capable of putting more pressure. But those next few weeks, and it's interesting that you mentioned that Celtic mustn't lose, and you're right. I think almost like both teams would maybe take a draw, which maybe Celtic slightly less, arguably.
To be honest with you, I actually disagree with that. I think Celtic slightly more would take a draw because I actually feel like if you're looking at Hearts, this is their chance to do Celtic a little bit. This is their chance to put a marker down. You know, there's always times in seasons where you think, right, this is the time where they need to actually show us what they're made of. And I think this is a time generally where Hearts need to show the whole of Scotland and the whole of the UK watching that that's a time where they need to really show people, because if they can down Celtic, then I think the Celtic players start to question themselves a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking forward to it, and it'll be a momentum building or momentum turning either way.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, what's your? This is when I usually sit on the fence every Friday night Telfer.
Yeah, Michael's still got a sore bum from sitting on the fence.
But
He does it every Friday night.
however, I need to come. I need to come in now because it's a bit cold outside now and it's a bit wet. So I might come off the fence maybe one day. But Telfer score prediction for Sunday, and I've got a funny feeling what you're gonna say, but I'm a polite guy, so I'll ask you anyway.
Maybe not. I'm going for one each.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. All that build up for nothing. Okay, Reagan.
I made my prediction on Wednesday night with Graham, and I need to stick by it because if I don't say the same prediction, then it looks pretty stupid of me. But I know I've said some stupid things before, Michael. And you can probably reference that.
Yeah,
But
I'll back you up there.
I do think that if Celtic are missing Maeda, and obviously they're missing Vickers as well, I do think that potentially sways the game into Hearts' favour. But I did say 3-1 to Celtic. If I want to get your thoughts just finally, right, but just before I get Michael's prediction, because I know he's sitting on the fence a lot there, but how important do you think the crowd will be on Sunday? Because I think if Celtic score early, this could get a little bit nasty for the players as well, because you don't want it to be, of course you want it to be edge, but you don't want people like Devlin to get sent off early, or you don't want something to happen that basically ruins the match for you.
Yeah, and we've been there in the past. Alex Cochrane, our former left back now at Birmingham City, got sent off, and yeah, there's been a few moments of those against Celtic. I think Penrice may have got carded earlier, sent off one times against Celtic, but the fans, I don't think it'll be toxic even if it's a narrow loss. I think the supporters will still stick by our team.
Don't forget to subscribe to. There we go. We were 3-0 down at Motherwell, so I wouldn't worry about the crowd. I will say 2-1 Celtic on Sunday. So there you go, 2-1. And we will see the outcome of the game. 12 o'clock kickoff live on Sky. Well, Wales will get me at that time of day. And come come on here after the game and have a rant about the game, because I know Reagan will have a lot of rants about the game. Not rats about the game. Don't forget to subscribe to, if you want to. I know you like to see our handsome faces, but if you want to listen to our handsome voices, you can do so. Just going to our Spotify channel and just look for the Scottish Football Zone, featuring interviews that Reagan went to Fihal last week and interviewed Mark Wilson after the game, and he interviewed Guy Packett for the player, and also last night's our special guest on the show was Jim Delahant. So and he was brilliant. So get listening to that one and get subscribing to the Spotify channel, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. It is the Scottish Football Zone on YouTube, and that's on Spotify as well. If you want to listen to it, that's the details there, how to sign up as well. Let's move to Ibrox then. There's a big game. I know it's a big game for Hearts and Celtic. It's even a bigger game for Rangers on Sunday as they welcome Kilmarnock, and it's Danny Rowe's first kind of home game. Reagan, the baptism, I think you would say the baptism of fire.
Yeah, I mean, Michael, if I was writing this for the paper on Sunday, this is what I would be saying. Danny Rowe's got the he's got the roll with it, but he's, but I mean, he's, I don't think he's going to get time it, as is the song would say. I don't think he's going to take his time, because he needs to win matches straight away. You know, and I think you mentioned it with Jim Delahant last night. I mean, the Rangers fans were surely not happy, but I think they're not happy now with Farewell and Stewart. And fair play to them for that, Michael, but I think Danny Rowe seems to be an approachable guy. I've seen that he was talking to the Rangers fans in the airport, saying sorry about the result. But genuinely, Michael, I just feel like the standard of squad Rangers have got at the moment is not very. I don't think it's up to the level for Rangers. I know people keep saying you can get a new manager. I think if you get Pep, I think if you get Pep Guardiola in there, he'd be struggling. Going, I've got Miovski, who's Miovski's a decent player, but I think Miovski's probably a second choice striker. Then you've got Chermiti, who has not scored a goal for his club in about 3 or 4 seasons. So I don't actually know how Farewell has managed to oversee that recruitment. Then you've got people like Makoma, sorry, Michael. You've got Max Aarons, who has done very bad for Rangers so far. And you look at players like Tavernier again. That's another Rangers manager that is picking Tavernier as the Rangers captain. I'm sorry, but you need to change it. Is Tavernier just going to get a free pass all the time? You know, and I'm not inside the Rangers dressing room, but I don't think Tavernier is anywhere near a captain. I really don't.
I can understand where you're coming from that, and even in the middle of the park, I just feel they're getting ran over the top. And if Tavernier, he may still have the leadership qualities, but is it quite evident that he's just not as good on the pitch as he used to be? And yeah, captains have leadership, how good you are and how vocal, but Makoma, Tavernier, they're just too easy to beat, and the recruitment's been a shambles, to be honest.
Yeah, and obviously, like, Farewell can take a lot of the blame, right, guys? But there needs to be a bit of accountability from the players as well. I mean, I just don't know where they actually sign these players from. I mean, I know Farewell says that he made a comparison the other day that I didn't like. He says, no disrespect, but he says, Kermiti, he wouldn't be here if he was any good, which basically means that he thinks he only signed them because they're playing in Scotland. I think in general, right, I totally agree with what Farewell said there. Of course, Celtic are not going to sign Messi, they're not going to sign Ronaldo, but Celtic have signed players like Matt O'Reilly, they've signed players like Kyogo, they've signed Giakoumakis, they've signed all of these players that will be on to do big and better things. Rangers are the better striker in the building and Cyril Dessers, and they went on to sign a guy that's not scored a goal for his club in 4 years.
Sold them less for only 4 or 5 million instead of the
Yeah.
7.5, 8 million that Trimity is.
Michael, I've got an interesting point for you as well, right? Now I was looking at the Rangers squad during the lockdown season, and I was looking at the Celtic squad during the lockdown season, right? And you know how people I hear in the media, and of course there's some great pundits in the media, right? But there's a few pundits that are now coming out and saying that, oh, you're not able to have three or four strikers because two of them will not be happy and all of this sort of stuff. And I go, if you look back to the lockdown season, Rangers had players like Jermaine Defoe, Roof,
Sakala.
Cedric Eaton, um, um, you know, and Celtics had four strikers of Edward, Lee Griffiths, Patrick Klimala, and Albin Ajeti. And now Celtic and Rangers have both only got two strikers. I've never heard the likes of it before in my life.
A good analogy, and yeah, like other clubs, if the more people you have fighting for the position, builds up competition, and you're more likely to play better on the pitch because you know if you don't perform, you're out of the starting XI the week after. So yeah, you got very, very valid there.
Telford, what do you think about that? Do you think it's valid that if you have three or four strikers, then they might get fed up or throw the toys at the pram? But surely you want competition.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. And
it just shows you as well that Celtic have got one striker at the moment, fit and firing. This time last year, Johnny Kenny, was third choice striker, and now he's first choice striker because they've got no Kyogo or no Giakoumakis, or no Adam Ida as well.
yeah, and even Ida, like I know sometimes you got to look at it. Yeah, you can argue. There's a fine argument that Ida was not a starting striker, but was he still worth keeping for someone to bring off the bench? Or would he? Ida, if he was still at Celtic, he would be starting 100% on Sunday with ahead of Kenny. I'm pretty confident of that. And I know the guy was scapegoated a little bit, but his goal scoring record wasn't horrendous.
I mean, he still scored 20 goals last year to help us your spot, isn't there?
Yeah. And like Deser's a little bit more. I think his goal scoring, he missed a lot of chances, but don't slate a striker as much for. You slate a striker when they're not getting chances. You give the strikers a bit of leeway when they're getting chances because you know eventually one will hit the back of the net, like Nygren against Sturm Graz, 4 or 5 chances, but one of them did go in.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I thought Dessers was a great striker. I thought he was so reliable. He scored a lot of goals. I mean, look at last season. If Dessers were there, Rangers would have finished. I don't know, but Dessers really done really well for Barry Ferguson as well.
I mean, I always go back to that goal that he scored against Man United, Telfer. You know that he made that look easy, but it was so difficult. And then I think the next week he played against Dundee United away from home and scored maybe not the exact same goal, but the type of goal that he scored as well. And I know that he was getting a lot of abuse from Rangers fans as well, but at least he was there. Okay, he misses some chances, but he scores some important goals, and I think Rangers makes that. And I think I might take a bit of stick here, but I think I would maybe put him in the same bracket as Adam Ida. I don't know if that's right, me saying that, Reagan.
I think both of those players were a little bit underappreciated. You look at Adam Vida as well. He scored the winning goal against Rangers. He scored the winning goal to win them the title, Celtic. So I don't think overall you can really criticise people that have scored that amount of chances. I know he wasn't the flavour of the day like Kyogo was, because Kyogo was probably the best Celtic striker for a long time, but I don't think you can look past in terms of what Adamida and Dessers both done for Celtic and Rangers as well.
Let's talk about the game now on Sunday. Rangers against Kilmarnock. What are you expecting? What are you expecting, Telford, on Sunday from Rangers?
I do think Rangers will get off the line. I do think it'll be like a 2-1 win for Rangers eventually, but I do think they will click. I'm not saying it'll be a convincing win, but I do anticipate them getting their first league win of the season.
Reagan, and what about Kilmarnock? I think Kilmarnock is in the same vein as Hearts because they've had a full week to prepare for the game, and yet Rangers in Europe last night slightly different for Rangers because they were away from home and they get outplayed for 90 plus minutes.
Yeah, I mean, but it just must be so worrying for Danny Rowe. I know I said earlier that he needs to roll with it, but it must be so difficult for him to watch that and go, what have I actually got to work with here? Because he's not got very much materials to work with here.
Yeah, Kelly have had a good start as well recently.
Yeah.
They've only lost twice now in the league against the top two, so they'll fancy going there with picking up 1 or 3 points.
Yeah, and obviously they've got the players on the break to really cause Rangers problems. You look at people like David Watson. Is Danny Armstrong still playing for Kelly?
No, he's signed for Dinamo Bucharest, I believe, in the summer.
We Bucharest. He's off for these travels. So I think in terms of short Kelly, I think he's got the two kind of attacking sort of strikers up there.
Well, I mean, he's had experience there, Reagan, but going by, was it Motherwell? And they won, what was it, 2-0, 3-0 there as well. And I'm sure he got a point there. And also he picked up a few points against Celtic. So he's been known to go to Ibrox and win.
Yeah, Stuart Kit will be under no illusion. It'll be a hard game, especially because they're welcoming a new manager and hopefully there'll not be a lot of boos there. But I tell you, the Kilmarnock players will be happy that they've got Rangers at this time, because even if you look at the two Kilmarnock strikers, I think they'll be thinking that the charge against Rangers will be pretty something that they can build on, because I don't think the two centre backs for Rangers are really up to much. I know Suter was okay with Hearts, but if you look at I think it's the first goal the Rangers conceded last night. You look at John Suter's positioning, and you look at Tavernier as well. So I think they'll be thinking, right, if we can get the Rangers back line, and hopefully they can keep the the score down from their point of view. But I think in general, I'm totally with Telford. I think Rangers will just go over the line. I'm going to go for 1-0 to Rangers. But I'm going to say Rangers are going to score in the last 10 minutes.
I'll be interested to see how Kilmarnock bounces back from Saturday's defeat against Hearts, because I don't think Kilmarnock played that bad last Saturday, Telfer.
No, the first 17, 18 minutes, we won't be super precise round down, I think. Kilmarnock were slightly the better team. But after that, they were quite open, and it'll be interesting to see. I believe they signed a new striker on an emergency loan agreement because the Genio Daniels has ruled out for the rest of the season. So that new emergency, he's out for the rest of the season. So I think the new strikers from Arsenal's academy, he was on or something like that.
So I know they're playing two up front now, so it's Dackers and Daniels in it.
Yeah. Well,
Double
Daniels
G.
is injured. Don't know if Dackers is.
Right. So score predictions for this one, guys. Rangers against Kilmarnock. Reagan?
I'm going to go 1-0 to Rangers. A close game. I'll say Rangers will score in the last 10 minutes.
2-1, Jamiti to get the winner. His first goal.
Okay, I was going to go 2-1, but there you go. So I might just follow Telford on this one.
Follow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. 2-1 on Sunday, and I'll be interested to see what Danny Rowe, if he will make any changes. But yeah, that's an interesting one that you've mentioned it, Reagan, and Alex mentioned it last night that he's heard that there's a kind of like divide in the kind of dressing room, but. That's interesting what you were saying about Tavernier as well, because it doesn't seem to be dropped. It was dropped under Philip Clement, albeit it was a sub for a few games, but he wasn't kind of tore out the team. But I'll be interested to see what he does.
Like,
Week.
just a final point on that. I've got nothing against Tavernier. I think he's a great professional and stuff like that, Michael. But I just feel like every single Rangers manager has never changed it up. So clearly that tells me that either James Tavernier is a brilliant captain, which, my personal opinion, I don't think he is. So clearly there must be nobody else in there that he basically thinks this could be my person.
Yeah, that's a good point, Telford, that Reagan's made, because you would think that Rangers has went through, half a dozen, maybe more managers, and they skipped by Tavernier.
Yeah, and even Shanklin last season still remained captain. I think maybe there's something in the club hierarchy or something in the play. It's always, it can go one way or the other. It's just such a risk. It can either pay off or it can spectacularly not if you drop or change captaincy.
Yeah. So that's the game on Sunday. It's the Rangers against Kilmarnock, and we'll see. We'll see what happens on Sunday, because it's another big week for Rangers. Of course, they've got a game on Sunday and then away to Hibs on, I think, is it Wednesday night, Reagan? And then Sunday they've got a semi-final against Celtic.
Yeah, it's a big match for Rangers this weekend, because I expect them to drop points on Wednesday night. Making no bones about that, I think that David Gray's team at home are very a tough nut to crack, and I do expect Rangers to drop points again on Wednesday night. So I think it's so imperative that Rangers go on and they win this game on Sunday. But thank you, Tipper, for being on. I know you need to go.
Yep, and no, brilliant to have you on the show, Telfer, and enjoy the game on Sunday, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thanks for having me, guys, and yeah, and speak to you soon. And let's hope it's an entertaining week for our clubs. Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Right. There you go. That was Telfer Gray talking about the. Yep, that was Telfer Gray looking ahead to the Heart Celtic game on Sunday. Let's move on to the game. Another European embarrassment, you would say. Willie Miller was commenting on that on the BBC website. Embarrassing, Reagan, for Aberdeen, but embarrassing for Scottish football, you would say, away from home. Aberdeen against Hibs.
Yeah, I was listening to that podcast today that you guys done last night, and I was listening to Jim, and the way Jim said about it was he said that it's Jeremy Talini is on a shaky peg now, and I tend to agree with Jim. I think Jeremy Talini is okay, won the trophy at the end of the season, Michael, but I think in general he should he should be on the verge of losing his job because it's not been great. Okay, you can say the standard of opposition was not great, but I mean Aberdeen could have lost that game by 9 goals like yesterday. I mean this is not a case of Aberdeen played well and stuff like that. They were totally outplayed. They could have lost the game by 8 or 9. So I think in terms of Aberdeen, I think of course we'll get into the big match on Sunday now, but they play David Gray's side at home, and I think this is a chance for Aberdeen to really bounce back because the supporters. If I was an Aberdeen supporter, I mean, of course I like Aberdeen, but I'm not a supporter of Aberdeen. But if I was one of them, I would be so disappointed. I would also be thinking they need a big result because that needs to try and appease the fans because I'm sure the fans will not be happy at all.
Yeah, I mean, especially because that game's at home. I mean, I think you would say if the game was at East Road, but I mean, I think I'm saying because that game's at home, but it doesn't matter if it's at home or away as well. At the moment where Aberdeen aren't playing well, but I don't know about you, Reagan, but I think I know Jim was saying last night about the Scottish Cup and all the rest of it, but I think Jimmy Tilling's a very, very lucky guy still to be there.
I think he is. I think you can say see you Jimmy pretty soon because he's not up to the standard of what Aberdeen expect. Aberdeen's got a lot of good players this season, Michael. I don't dispute that he was involved in it, but I totally get that they potentially still could be in the race to get further in the table. But I just feel like they need a big response at the weekend for the players to really buy in to what's actually happening. But I think in terms of David Gray for this weekend, he'll be going into that, Michael, thinking, right, well, in terms of what we can do, I think the crowd will be on Aberdeen's back from pretty early, Michael. So I think that in terms of what they were trying to implement into the match, I think if I'm talking about this game overall, I think I'll be probably looking at David Gray's team to go away there and win. And I think in terms of that, Michael, I think David Gray's done a fantastic job. Of course, we were talking on this show about 6 months ago, just saying that David Gray should be sacked. I mean, we don't understand why. So I totally get Aberdeen fans screaming at their TVs just now or listening on Spotify later, thinking, I don't know what he's talking about. But what I'm saying right now, from what I'm seeing, I just don't feel like you can really bank on the the Scottish Trophy one at the end of the season against Celtic, because of course Aberdeen done really well to win that, okay, but they won on a penalty shootout, and they also won when Schmeichel dropped the ball into his own net. So I wouldn't really say Aberdeen played outstanding that day either. And of course, there's different ways to win a trophy, but I just feel in general he definitely is borrowed time, Michael.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then if you look at it, as you were saying that, if you look at it from the other side of the fence, from Hibs, totally different team, because as you said, we were on here last season saying that was a weird appointment, David Gray in the Hibs hot seat, and then by what was it, November, December, they went on a run and ended a season on the high.
Yeah, I mean what they've been doing actually is actually brilliant. I mean, he's done a great job for flooding the table, and Telfer mentioned it earlier about them doing really well in Europe as well. So I think David Gray has done a fantastic job.
Yeah, no, and they've got good players, Hibs as well. You know, and I think you make that if you want to be a top side. And don't forget they were nearly in they were nearly still in European competition, albeit I went to penalty. No, what was it, extra time or penalty kick? I can't remember offhand, but they were
was
only
extra-
about 10 minutes away.
Yeah, they were all, I think it was less than 10 minutes. I think it was about 5 minutes away. And then
Yeah.
Midtjylland scored a screamer to win the game. And you look at Midtjylland right now. Midtjylland are top of the Europa League at the minute.
Last point on Aberdeen before we get your predictions on the game. First of all, I've got a quote here from David Gray. He said, Aberdeen is a good squad, but it will be a very difficult game. But we are going up there for the 3 points. So basically, he is saying the right things to the Hibs fans. It's going up to the Granite City over the weekend. What do you think will happen then, Reagan? Right? Do you think that Aberdeen fans won't be happy, obviously, if they get beat, but I don't think they'll be happy also if they get a point? So we'll be coming on here on Sunday or next week saying Aberdeen is still got Jim Tilley at the helm, or do you think Aberdeen will part companies for him as well?
I think if they lose this weekend, I think the Aberdeen fans will lose faith in them, to be honest with you, Michael, because it's been too long. So I think in general, I think that this is a must-win match. But you've got to say, Michael, fair play to Alex, because Alex was on with me and you last week in your first show back, and he predicted that Aberdeen would go away to St Mirren and break their hoodoo, and they certainly did that.
You did, yeah. I was going to say as well, just quickly, just to caveat that point, Reagan, if Aberdeen, and I say if, right, if they get beat this weekend and the fans will be out in the numbers wanting Jimmy Tilley sacked, I said to you way last year as well, they should be looking at Dave Cormack, because that's the managers that they've appointed, and not one of them brought it set. Well, obviously Jimmy Tilley with the Scottish Cup, but apart from that, they've not been really outstanding.
I think Dave Cormack and the Aberdeen fans, I think they would give him a little bit of a free pass, Michael, because they managed to win the Scottish Trophy. That might be different for Aberdeen fans, but I just feel from an outsider looking in that they've not won the Scottish Trophy for so many years, and to then deliver that against a formidable Brendan Rodgers Celtic side, especially with Brendan Rodgers' record at Hampden as well. So I feel like he would maybe get a little bit of a free pass. I totally get what you're saying about the league form's not be good enough, but I think Aberdeen fans would take that. They would take being terrible in the league, but then also being able to still win that trophy, because don't forget, Michael, they've not got the finances of say a Celtic, Rangers, or even a Hearts now.
I still think they sacked Barry Robson too soon, because I thought he was going to take kind of decent job up there at Aberdeen as well. And
I
yeah,
think
look,
I think it was, but then you look at it now and you go, well, it was a calculated choice from Dave. He possibly looked at it and went, right, we now need to be a little bit serious with the management, and ultimately it's paid off, because they've won the Scottish Trophy against Celtic last season. So I don't think there's too much to grumble about. But in terms of Bayer Robson, he's still making a good management type of it just now. He's at Rafe Rovers in the Championship.
so give us your score predictions for Aberdeen against Hibs, Reagan.
I'm going to go for Aberdeen 1, David Grace High Bees 3.
Okay, I will go 2-1 to Hibs on Sunday as well. Don't forget, if you want to predict the score, just put it in the chat. And also, if you want to subscribe to our new podcast channel, just look us up on Spotify. It is the Scottish Football Zone, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. It doesn't cost you anything by
Yeah, Michael.
looking at me and Reagan's faces every week.
Yeah, Michael, I'm just going to say, please make sure that when you're putting things in the chat that they are friendly and that they're nice as well, because there's so many people watching, and we apologise for anybody that was
Yes, offended by that comment as
Yeah.
well. So we're very sorry about that. But yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel Scottish Football Zone, and subscribe to our Spotify channel. Fun enough, it's just called the Scottish Football Zone. And you can listen to us and hear us. So there's no excuses anymore. Well, maybe there is, I don't know. So let's go to our games on Saturday then, Reagan. Let's go to the Falkirk Ski game against Falkirk and Dundee. This is one of the games of the weekend for me. Yep.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah, Michael. I think it is like one of the matches of the weekend, because you look at Livingston, they're playing well at the moment, and you look at Motherwell. I mean, Motherwell are playing really well too. So I think this is going to be a close game.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think as well, what makes it more interesting, Reagan, is was Dundee's impressive performance last week against Celtic. But I mean, how many times have we said it? If teams go to Parkhead or Ibrox and beat them, it's what they do the next week. It's important, and they make the Dundee, albeit as away from home, but they may back it up now and go to Falkirk and win, and it's not going to be easy against John McGlynn's team.
No, it's no, but fair play to Stephen Presley, because with a few people on this show, me included, were saying, I don't think Stephen Presley is going to work at Dundee. But he proved me wrong last week, because I thought Dundee were actually superb, as much as watching Celtic I was nearly pulling the pins at my eyes, because it was so bad to watch. But I mean, fair play to Dundee, Michael. I thought they were really great to watch.
Yeah, I mean, on that Dundee point that you made, right? We were on the show last season and we were feeding for Dundee. Obviously, Cameron's away to Ibrox. What's happened to him at Ibrox, I do not know. He's not been seen or heard for weeks. But also, Luke McCown away to Celtic. Maybe you could say the same thing about him, where they've been for weeks as well. And we were worried about Dundee. And yeah, I'll hold my hand up and say it's a bit of a risk. Brennan Stephen plays it out the cold because he's not been in the job for about 4, 5, 6, maybe more seasons. And he went to Ibrox and got a point, and then he beat Celtic last week. I think the only disappointing maybe thing that if you speak to him, he would get wanting more goals as well, but it doesn't matter. They beat Celtic.
Yeah, they're playing well at the moment and they're showing their mettle. So I think Stephen Prez will be pretty happy with the way things are going.
Yeah, no, exactly. And for Falkirk, it's a big game for them. We were talking about Hearts early on with the brilliant atmosphere they've got. I don't know if you've ever been to the Falkirk Skigum.
Yeah, I've been there,
Regan.
Michael. I tell you one thing, Michael, the pies are lovely.
Yeah.
If you're in the Falkirk Stadium at the weekend, this is a Scottish Football Zone exclusive. Get yourself a pie.
If
You'll
if
not be disappointed.
if you're watching the show for the first time, I must warn you, ladies and gentlemen, Reagan is a pie specialist as well. Because every time I speak to him during the week, he's always like that. He doesn't ask me how are you. He says, "What did you have for your dinner?" So he's more interested in my dinner than how I am. So
Is that
there
you
you
saying
go.
I enjoy food more than anything else, Michael?
Well, no comment on that one, but I think it was. But it's a good atmosphere. The Falkirk Skigum. I think the only thing I would say about that, Reagan, is if they manage to get a bit like Packet Thistle, if they manage to get the stand up opposite the main stand up, would be a cracking Skigum and a brilliant atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is with Falkirk, Michael, just to go back on your point about the crowd, the manager sell this stadium out every single week. So the Falkirk fans are really buy into what Stephen and John McGlynn are doing there. So I think in general, I think they're a great club. But I know it'll be good to get Alan back on, who's
Yep.
the resident Falkirk fan on the show. So I think in general, Falkirk is in a good place. And I know a few years ago, Michael, when me and you first met a few years ago, there was talk about a little bit of Falkirk fans not really believing in the club. But I think now everybody's totally behind Falkirk at the club.
Yeah, no, you're right because there was a famous video on it on the AGM,
Yeah,
and there was a fight at it. I remember seeing that, and all you have to do is fast forward about 4 or 5 years now, and everything's they've got back-to-back promotions, and they're doing well in the league.
yeah, I mean, it just shows you how quickly things can change in football, especially. And I think for Falkirk, I think they're a club that's progressing. The only thing I don't like about Falkirk, I'm sorry, guys, but the plastic pitch, it is probably the best of the surfaces of the Premier League, but I'm still not a fan of it, Michael.
No, but in saying that, Reagan, I'm against it as well, right? But if you watch, say a Falkirk game or a kind of Airdrie game, you would be remiss to think that if anybody had to tell you that was at a fifth pitch, you would be saying, "Oh, you're kicking on," because that's one of the better surfaces.
Yeah, I think it is, and I think in terms of what you said there, I think it is one of the better surfaces. Maybe I'm not too sure of the finances of the club, but maybe they spend more money on the plastic pitch as well.
So let's get your prediction for this one, Reagan. Falkirk against Dundee. Of course, it's. I actually forgot about this, Reagan, because you know how I like to say it's like a manager or a player's derby. Well, this is actually the Stephen Pressey derby as well, because obviously he played and managed at Falkirk as well.
Yeah, he did. Elvis will be re-entering the building. Elvis
Exactly.
will be
Yeah. But we all shook up at the end.
up and I don't want to go.
Stephen Presley said to the media yesterday, said last week's game was good, but we need to reset and focus on Falkirk. But it's going to be a tough game, and that's what I said, Reagan. It's all right that they beat Celtic at their own patch last week, but it's all about what they do in the next game, and the next game against done is against Falkirk away from home. So, what's your prediction on this one?
I'm going to go Falkirk 3, Dundee 0.
Oh, right, okay. I will go back to my 2-1. So 2-1 to who you say? 2-1 to Falkirk in this one. So there you go. So that's the game on the Saturday. Also on the Saturday, there's 2 more games to talk about before we get to the championship. It is Dundee United against St Mirren, and again, it's another derby because it's a Jim Goodwin derby.
Yeah, it is. Jim, I think Jim's done a fantastic job, no matter what Aberdeen fans say about him, because I think Jim Goodwin's a very good Scottish football manager. I think he's proved that in many clubs he's been at, and he's doing the exact same thing at Dundee United.
Yeah, no, exactly, and yep, and St Mirren will be all. In fact, this will be the lead up to the semi-final next week against Motherwell. It's a big week for St Mirren, but first up, a very difficult away game against Dundee United. But yeah, I mean Dundee United is one of the kind of great clubs of the Premiership because I was talking about atmosphere early on, and I'm going to talk about atmosphere here, Reagan, because it's a nice stadium, good atmosphere in the stadium, and they've got a good team on the park.
Yeah, I was talking to a few people at Dundee United last week that are working at the club. There's some really nice people that work in there behind the scenes as well. So there's some great things going on in Scottish football, and I think Dundee United is a real success story. And I think Scottish football definitely needs the 2 Dundee clubs fighting at the top of at the top at the top of the table.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's healthy because obviously you've got the Glasgow, you've got Edinburgh, you've Dundee as well, and am I right in thinking the only 2 derbies that we're missing and is the Ayrshire derby and Inverness derby? It could only help. It could only help the game in Scotland.
Yeah, and I think potentially we could have a Fife derby next season with Falkirk versus Dunfermline. That could be a Premiership derby as well, because I know those 2 clubs don't really see eye to eye either.
Yeah, no, I think they're actually worse than Celtic and Rangers. I'm talking about the fans, Reagan.
Yeah, the fans are really bitter towards each other. And to be honest with you, Mike, I don't really understand it, but I do. I I, I do really enjoy watching Dundee United.
Yeah, no, exactly. And talk to me about St Mirren because Stephen Robertson was actually talked about the Rangers job. I don't know if that will come back up again. Hopefully, Danny Rowe will last a wee bit longer, but he's been touting about because I think he's been doing a brilliant job at St Mirren.
Yeah, he is. In fair play, Stephen Robinson, he is. I'm missing Robbie for a general St Mirren chance. Need to catch up with Robbie soon. Hopefully, he comes back on the show again soon, Michael. But I think St Mirren are doing well. I think Stephen Robinson is doing well, and that's why clubs are looking at him going, what a job he's doing at St Mirren. St Mirren have got really good players. They've got Brackets, they've got your pal Mark O'Hara. They've got players in there that you can really look at and go, he wouldn't look at a place in any of these clubs in the Scottish Premier League.
I think now I'm not touting Stephen Robertson to go to another club on the show because I wouldn't do that to St Mirren fans. But I think if he eventually leaves St Mirren, I think he would go down as one of the greatest managers ever because obviously they've got a chance to get the final next Saturday. They finished in the top six. I think they finished twice in the top six as well. And when we talk about budgets, I mean, St Mirren must be one of the bottom six budgets in the Premiership, but I think they punch above their weight every season.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things that St Mirren fans keep telling me is the one missing piece from Robinson is a big trophy or a big final at Hampden. Next week he's got the potential to do that. And I think if you're Celtic or Rangers, I think you'd rather play Motherwell over St Mirren. Because I think St Mirren have got that physicality about them, and they've got players up the top end of the pitch that can really cause you problems.
Yeah, no, and what are you expecting from this game, Reagan?
I'm expecting it to be a tight match, but ultimately I expect St Mirren to run out winners in this game, Michael.
And an away win, but what's your score prediction, Reagan? Dundee United against St Mirren.
I'm going to go Dundee United 1, St Mirren 4.
Right, oh, there you go. I think I'll go 3-0 St Mirren not on Saturday, on tomorrow. So there you go. There's only one game left. By the way, I forgot to mention earlier on when we were talking about Aberdeen Hibs, because I know Reagan likes to see Scottish football on TV. So as soon as you finish watching Hearts and Celtic on Sky, turn over to Premier Sports 2 on Sunday for the Aberdeen Hibs game, and Reagan will be on Sunday, and he'll keep you up to date in that game. Reagan, I know you're always going about the games on the TV, but it's brilliant to see another big game on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, what Premier Sports are doing for Scottish football right now shouldn't go unnoticed. They are backing Scottish football to the hilt. I've been looking for a broadcaster to do this for many years. I know TNT Sports done it for many, many years, formerly known as BT Sport. They really back Scottish football on the Friday night football to start off with Darrow and Emma as well. But I'm glad to see that Premier Sports are really backing it as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. And just to make you even more depressed, Reagan, I happened to look out my studio window here at 6:25, and it's pitch black outside. So, yeah, if I wasn't depressed enough, that will even make you more depressed as well. Roll on the light nights, that's what I say, but I've got to wait for a wee while. Anyway, that was a side to the football that we're talking about. One more game to discuss tomorrow, and that is Livingston against Motherwell.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a cracker. It's going to be I think it's going to be plastic and fantastic. You remember that song?
Well done. Yes.
You know, so I think this match has got a lot of different things and talking points on it. I think Motherwell will be looking to get back to winning ways. Obviously, they've had back-to-back losses against Celtic and Falkirk respectively, Michael, but I just feel Motherwell need to get back to winning ways. And obviously, if you look at David Martindale's done a fantastic job over at Livingston as well. So this is going to be a great match to watch. I think Motherwell will try and play some attractive football, but of course you can play attractive football, but it's all about putting that ball in the back of the net. To be honest with you, Michael, I think this could be a very tight one.
And also, Motherwell's got a big week coming up, right, St Mirren, because they're playing for their cup semi-final places, because they've got a game tomorrow against Livingston. I'm not sure who they play midweek. And then on Saturday next weekend, they play St Mirren in the Scottish Cup semi-final. So, I mean, what do you make of Motherwell this season? I mean, they nearly went to Celtic Park and beat Celtic the other week. And obviously, I think it was the first game of the season. They got a point against Rangers. So, and under the new gaffer, Jans, they're actually doing well.
Yeah, they are doing well, Michael. You've got every right to say that. And I think in terms of what Motherwell are trying to do, Motherwell are showing a real self, a self belief that they can really go and trouble teams.
Yep, and for Livingston, it's as you were. I mean, David Martindale seems to be doing everything at Livingston, but he's doing something right, because they keep picking up points here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, Michael, just to let you know, on Wednesday night, my Motherwell are playing home to Dundee United at
Oh well,
7:45.
that's another cracking game.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I mean, Livingston, just because Livingston sings, they go about, they cost people trouble, and they nick a few goals and nick a few wins as well. I mean, I think a few seasons ago, Reagan, a bit like what we were saying about Steven Robertson, and I might put my Callum Davison into the mix, but and also David Martindale. I'm surprised nobody's looking at Martindale there, because he's been there for years. He's seen it, done it. They've got him relegated. He's back up in the Premiership. I think they won a did they not win a cup or get a
Yeah,
final during lockdown?
they won the Challenge Cup last season.
Yeah, no. So I think everything's going right for Livingston. On maybe not off the park, because they would like some more fans to the games.
Yeah, but I think on the part they've got a really good team that they can be proud of. And what David Martindale does every single week is he puts a team on the park that the St Mirren fans are able to be proud of.
Yeah, well, just because he puts a Livingston on the park, not St Mirren, but yeah, I get what you mean. As well. So, what is your score prediction for Livy against the Well tomorrow?
I'm gonna go Livingston 2, Motherwell 2.
Yeah, I think I'll go for a bit of a Desmond in this one as well, but I think I will go for a 1-each draw in this one. Livingston against Motherwell. Okay, before we go, let's have a look at the Championship. There's no games on tonight. There's a Scottish Cup tie on tonight. I've not got the game on hand. Sorry, I've not got the bit of paper on hand, but there's a game on the 10th. I think it's the second round of the Scottish Cup tonight, as well. I'll find it for you in a minute. But let's look at the Championship games. Tomorrow it's Airdrie against Arbroath, Morton against St Johnstone, Queen's Park against Ayr United, Raith Rovers against the Reagan's second team in Glasgow, Packet Thistle, and Ross County against Glenfermon. So, Reagan, what's your pick of the game? Then you can't say the Packet Thistle. Oh, okay, on you go. It's a Friday night. I don't care. But what game of the weekend?
I think the pick of the weekend for me, Michael, is probably got to be that Morton against St Johnstone game.
Yeah,
because as much as St Johnstone started the season well, they're starting to lose a lot of matches at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think the wheels has came off a wee bit as well, but but I would maybe say that game as well, Reagan, Morton against St Johnson. It's just and talk to me about the other game tomorrow as well. I'll allow you to talk about Packet Thistle, a very difficult game against Ray Forth. But in saying that, these two sides knows each other inside out. Be playing in the quarterfinal last season of the Premiership playoffs. So and I'm sure they met in the Scottish Cup as well. So they know each other quite well, Reagan.
Michael, I think the championship is the championship has got a great story to tell there. And I think there's so many good talking points.
Yeah, no, exactly. And we will just run through the games tonight. It's the Scottish Cup tonight. I think it's like the second round. I should have done this before I came on air. I'm not very well organised, so but yeah, I mean, I can't believe that the Scottish Cup is starting already, Reagan.
Yeah, I mean the fever is in full swing already. The season is getting going, Michael, and these matches are they're getting closer and closer every year. But hopefully we can see some of the junior clubs trying to go as far as they can. I just want to say on the actual
So
championship as well, Michael. I mean, what we've actually got in the championship this year is a great league. You look at Partick Thistle, you look at St Johnstone, you look at even Raith Rovers, even you look at you in terms of your pal is he's now at the Highlands as well. So I think you've got so many clubs in there where you can really go and say that genuinely there's some sort of a lot of clubs in there that can really do well.
yeah, no, exactly. It's a good league as well. Just to round up the game tonight is it's a Scottish Cup tie. Buckie Thistle is in Axon. It's the second round of the Scottish Cup. That's live on BBC. But if that's not your thing, you can watch the women's football. That kicks off in about half an hour's time. Morning. Scotland women's football team is in action, and that is on the BBC as well. Reagan, it's been brilliant to speak to you as always tonight. We will do it all again. Reagan will be here on Sunday after the Hearts Celtic game, and he will keep you up to date with the game at Ibrox and also the game between Aberdeen and Hibs as well. Thanks to Telford for joining us early on. Thanks to Reagan. Thanks to all your comments. And remember to, first of all, subscribe to the YouTube channel that is the Scottish Football Zone. But if you want to listen to our nice voices, you can do so by going on to the Scottish Football Zone on Spotify and subscribe to that one as well. So even if you're at the bus stop or whatever, you can still watch us and listen to us as well. So thanks for watching. Thanks for all your comments tonight. And we'll get all again on Sunday.
You're watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions